So I'm doing a subwoofer replacement on a Mk7 Golf R. So in the back, just lift up the handle here. There's the Fender sub, the stock factory sub is the 6.5 inch. You can see the connector here. It's got 4 wires, a white and a white with a yellow line, and a brown with a yellow line. And it just connects into the sub here, this electrical clip. So you can push down on this and just wiggle it loose. Just disconnect it. In the center here, just unscrew the center locking hub and set that aside, and literally the sub just lifts right up. So that's what the wheel well looks like underneath. I'm gonna set that out of the way. This centerpiece, it turns 90 degrees. So if you just grab it, turn it, and then it'll lift right up. You can see it's got those 2 locking teeth on it. So when it's in the car this way, it turns this way to lock. So easy to get out, and it's just, you know, a little hump in the middle there that stays in the car. Obviously the underneath carpet of the rear cargo area. So we'll get going on the replacement. Alright, so here's what I ordered. I ordered the Rockford Fosgate 12 inch dual 2 ohm sub, shallow mount. It's a R2 SD2-12. Comes in a box looking like that. So 12 inch shallow mount sub, dual voice coil 12 inch. I also ordered the Volkswagen parts for the housing that plugs into the factory wiring. That's the part number here, 8E0972-714. That's what I ordered. And then 2 of the wires that you actually cut in half to make 4 separate pieces. The wires have a little metal fitting, a little barb that sticks out that goes into the housing and clamps in. It's actually got little spring-loaded fastener that when you push it in, it stays in. You can't pull it out. So ordered 2 of those, and then you cut them in half to make 4, 2 for each voice coil, right? So here's my kind of mock-up of the box. The 2 wiring terminals go in here to let the wiring into the inside where the sub will mount here. I'll show you the other piece of the box, the top, which will be the bottom when you flip it over so it faces down in the wheel well. And then I've got these 2 brace pieces. I bought a sheet of MDF. Actually, one full sheet is, I think it was 97 by 49 by ½ inch MDF that I'm using. And just, you know, cut all the pieces down on the table. So I'll actually have a cut sheet that I'll post a picture of as well, just so you can see. I actually got 2 full boxes worth of cuts and had some scrap left over. So the big piece on the bottom and top are 30 by 22. The sides are 3 inches plus the ½ inch on the bottom and ½ inch on top. You know, the ½ inch and ½ inch makes 1 inch, plus the 3 gives you 4 inches. You can't be any bigger than that if you want the floor to fit flush. So that's it's 4 inches all put together, and that fits literally with the floor touching the subfloor of the hatch area touching the top of the box. So the sub itself faces down into that recessed area where the factory fender sub was. I've offset mine to, when you're looking at it from this way, it's offset to the right and the near side. So this will be at the back of the car. The wiring harness from the factory plug comes out at the edge of the rear of the car. This side over here is up against the back seats. This is on the right here, but when we flip it over, I justify my box all the way to the right, and you'll see that in the pictures. So it's to the near side and to the right when you're looking at it face down. When you flip it over, it'll be to the left. So it actually sits centered over that factory hole in the floor. So that's that. So again, 1/2 inch MDF, one full sheet would get you 2 boxes. So I'm actually making this one. This is my second one here. Making this one to give to a buddy. So I don't have another set of the wiring plugs here, and I don't have another sub, obviously, but he'll provide those, and the box will be all set, glued and screwed together. I actually put screws here. I haven't glued this one together, so this one still moves, but just wood glue, screws into the braces from the outside. So pre-drill holes here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 on the end pieces on both sides. So 2, 4, 6, 8 screws on both sides. Then the braces are just glued down, and then the top, which will actually be the bottom when you flip it over, is here. Kind of looks like that. So the plugs will go here, one side into one voice coil, one side into the other voice coil, and then the voice coil, I'll post a picture of the wiring diagram as well. Just the way the wiring has to be for a dual voice coil 2 ohm subwoofer. So that's it. I'll show you what it looks like in the car when it's done. So this one is not fully assembled yet, not glued or anything together, and it's missing the cups and the sub, but the other piece, I'll show you what it looks like in the car. So here's my kind of little cheat sheet for the wiring. So the car's wiring harness has 4 wires: white with the yellow stripe, solid white, brown with the yellow stripe, and solid brown. The little clip, if you buy the housing, the Volkswagen part, if you want to keep everything OEM, and you buy that, this part, 8E0972-714, if you buy that housing, the little black plug with the purple wire cover, if you buy that and the wires, it has little numbers on it. So I, line those up with the way, the way it plugs into the factory sub. So the wiring there is, the white with yellow is number 1, and there's 4 little slots on there, and they're numbered. It actually goes 4, 3, 2, 1. But the white with yellow is number 1, the solid white is number 2, the brown with yellow is number 3, and the solid brown is number 4. So when you click the new wires into that housing and then plug the housing into the factory, the other end of the housing, or the plug that goes into the housing, then you have to line up the wiring that you do from the plug or the harness, the factory plug, into the housing that you buy. The wires coming out of there go into these, terminal cups or terminal, whatever you want to call them, the plugs that will fit in these 2 holes, right? So the plugs that go in here, the wires will come from the harness into there. Then you'll have wires coming from the back of there into each voice coil. You'll have a positive and negative for voice coil number 1, positive and negative for voice coil number 2, and then you'll have a jumper wire from red to red and black to black on the sub itself. So that's kind of what this middle section is here. So the white with yellow goes to red terminal A. So this will be terminal A, this will be terminal B. There's a red and black here, red and black here, coming from the backside, right? So red and black here, but that's what this middle section is. So the white with yellow goes to red terminal A, and then to voice coil A, the red post. The solid white goes to red terminal B, and then from there to the voice coil number 2, red post. and so on and so forth, right? The brown with yellow stripe goes to the black on terminal A, and then to the black on voice coil A. I just labeled everything A and B to keep it straight, right? And then the solid brown wire goes to black terminal B, so B, and then black voice coil number 2. And then these little arrows here on the far right is just that little jumper wire, go from red to red on the sub, black to black on the sub. So a single wire going from the negative on voice coil 1 to voice coil 2, same thing on the red, on the positive. So that's the wiring. Hopefully that helps explain it, but that's kind of my little cheat sheet. So here is the finished product in the car. So I offset mine again to the right of the rear. You can see the wiring plugs down there. So the yellow wires that come in from the harness, I've kind of got it tucked up underneath here. But it's enough room. So my box is 30 by 22 by 4 in a finished state. So 30 this direction, 22 front to back, and then 4 inches tall. So the roadside assistance kit bag, and I've got a tire inflator, and I've also got the factory spare kit, if you will, all up underneath, and there's literally no room for anything else. So there's about an inch gap on this side where the support for the floor sits on, but there's about an inch gap there where there's nothing. But otherwise the sub faces down. It's about here, centered over that piece where the Fender factory sub, that little cylinder that comes out, it's centered over that. So just enough room. I wanted it to be able to fit these items under the floor rather than on top. So that's why I made it 30 wide instead of 32 or 34 like I've seen some others do. And then 22 is, it's touching here on the right rear corner, the support again for the floor. So that's as far back as you can go. There's another gap here that, there's space here. So as big as it could be, I think 30 by 22 by 4 gives you like 1.057 cubic feet of space, minus what the sub takes up, and then the braces. I've drilled, I've cut 2-inch holes in them, 5 2-inch holes in each brace. So that's kind of what it looks like in the car. And it sounds pretty good. Literally listened to it for 5 minutes after I put it in and hooked it up. But everything sounds good. It sounds way better than the factory sub. It's not a competition grade stereo by any means, but it's much better than the sound of the factory sub. So that is that. Again, a Mk7 Golf R subwoofer upgrade to the Rockford Fosgate 12-inch shallow mount dual voice coil 2-ohm sub, and a homemade box. Obviously, I'm not going to cover mine in carpet because it might not clear the floor might sit up a little bit if I do that. The floor rests on the box now, and obviously on the rails here and on the far side, and then on the near side. So couldn't go any taller by any chance, and even the carpeting the box would probably raise it up too much. Another 1/4 inch even, and the floor would sit up a little bit, which I don't want. So that's that. I'll put a list of the parts, the wiring diagram, the cut sheet for a full sheet of MDF. If you do that, one full sheet would get you 4 pieces, 30 by 22, which are the top and bottom. Obviously, you'll cut out for the Rockford Fosgate 12-inch. It's an 11.25-inch cutout hole. So 11.25 is the cutout size for the 12-inch sub. I offset mine so it's centered over that hole. Again, others have done other things, and to each their own, right? So that is that. What else? The holes I cut in the braces, and for the wiring plugs here, those holes I used a 2-inch hole saw, and just I cut 5 holes in each brace and 2 holes on that long piece, and it worked well. It takes a little bit with the hole saw because it's it gets hot, and MDF likes to smoke and smell like it's catching on fire when you get a hot hole saw going through it. several times. So, but that's it. It's relatively easy. You know, it's a day-long project, making all the cuts, drilling the holes for the braces, putting everything together with the glue and weighting and clamping it and all that. So it's a good, half day project. Take your time, let the glue set and support it with the screws and pre-drill those holes for MDF. So that's about it. Again, leave me any comments, questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Hope everybody has a good one.